feel like I've been anxious all my life. If you had asked me a year ago, I would have just said, nope, I have no anxiety, never heard of it, because it was uncomfortable to talk about.
What does it mean to exist within two worlds? O waiwai e uana ki ngā ao e rua, me pēhea te whakatere I te moana, I nā e kumea ana tātou ki wiwi, ki wāwā. Maybe it is these connections, woven from the strands of the DNA within us, where we can find safety. He ringa mirimiri, he ahuru mōwai I ngā turakitanga o te ao.
Ko tainui tuku waka, ko arapohata tuku maunga, ko te raparapa āhoi tuku awa, ko te ukaipo tuku marae, ko raukaua te tangata, ko te kaukauroa patisiri te rohi. Ko Kirihika Stewart tuku ingoa, I te taha o tuku pāpā he uri au no te puke, no Ngāti Waitaha, no te poi, no Ngāti Kirihika, no ngā motu o Scotland hoki. I te taha o tuku māma he uri au no Fiji, me India. Tuku tūranga waiwai, kei konei kei pōneke. We would go to the masjid or the mosque every Sunday, and I would go and do classes and my mum would pray. I was the only kid who wasn't fully Indian, and so they were like, do you know what to do?
Oh Allah, thank you for giving us a new life. Every day is a new life.
Yeah, I definitely felt like an outcast. I started off at a kohanga. Kids were like, why are you Indian? Do you own a dairy? You know, all the typical stereotypes. I just remember being anxious, going to school every single day. Yeah, it's pretty shitty growing up like that. My parents had split the year I was born. My mum's house was just full of a lot of random people. She had quite a wide community at her doorstep. I was unfortunately a victim of sexual assault. I was about 6 years old. My main response was flee. I would just like move away from the situation. I'd probably go to school twice a week. I don't think I've been to school a full month in my entire life. I think it roots from the bullying, but it came from like major anxiety about having to be a certain person or fulfill certain roles, to the point where I just wouldn't leave my house for weeks. My marae also gave me a reason not to leave. It became my second school, and that was because my papa had allowed me. My papa came to Island Bay. When he got out of prison, he had $25 and a dream, as he says, and ended up building a 10-story marae. The main reason for Tapitiranga marae being built was for urban Māori to have an urban marae. So many Māoris were coming in from these small towns to find jobs, and we were the capital, and there were almost no marae around. This was the one place that anyone could call home, and you didn't even have to be Māori to be able to call Tapitiranga your home. That's just the kind of place it was. So Black Power and Rangama built the marae together. I was talking to my brother Matai. He says your dad would carry around a shotgun, and if anyone pissed him off, he'd point it at them, and that's how he controlled them. When Taputeranga burnt down, it burnt for 3 days. At the moment it's quite still down here. The grass has grown back over top of the rubble. Kei konei te marae, aha koa kare kei konei he whare kei konei tonu te whenua, moa ke tonu atu. This here was the entrance to our house. And then when you had the whare kai, whare waka, whare tupuna in the side dining room. And that's where we had all our pōwhiri in the whare kai. We are starting to work on the rebuild. Pretty excited to see what the future holds for the marae. Growing up Muslim, there are actually quite a few tikanga. One is having tamako. You're unallowed any types of tattoos. Tamako won that battle out for me. My first piece, which is the one on my chest here, I got this when I was 16. It was for my papa because he had just passed, and to show our connection to ngā parewhiro, red rocks, is where Kupe's daughters slit their chests with obsidian and bled out and died the rocks. These are my second pieces, and they represent Tainui and Te Arawaka. They look identical, but one is actually feminine and one's male. I have my spine done, and that is a nod to my marae when it burnt down. And then I have my tummy done. That talks about all these strong wahine in our life, and it was my connection to becoming a woman from a girl. I feel like I've been anxious all my life. I've only just started to be more comfortable in my feelings, more open about seeking help. My trauma might be sad, but now it's a story that can help other rangatahi try and be more open. I think we're already on normalising mental health and trauma. It's not a tapu or taboo subject to talk about. And if I'm starting to share with those tamariki, maybe they'll start having the conversations earlier. Our generation are the conversation starters, and I think that's what I'm going to be doing for hopefully a long time.
The journey to understanding yourself and your place in this world will not be a straight road. But as you peel back all the layers that bind you to your cultures, to your experiences, ka hua he tangata hou, he tangata ora me te toa, gaining strength in the knowledge of who you are.
Growing up, when someone asked me what ethnicity I was, I always said Māori. And they're like, are you sure about that? You're pretty white. I have some people who say, you definitely look Māori, look at your hair, or look at your dark brown eyes. I couldn't speak Māori. My skin wasn't brown enough. Whether I had a lot of Pākehā whānau, well, where's your whakapapa? Why can't you speak te reo? Kia ora, ko Bailey Te Maipi tōku ingoa. He uri tēnei no arong whakata te autanga māki, ngai tūhoi me Ngāti Pākehā hoki. E tupu ake au ki kāpiti, engari noho ana au ki wainui mata I nāia nei.
wai e whakatau kai hia tō tuanui. Me pēhea tō whakahoki mai tērā I whanako hia, me te whai pāhau te atanga I roto I te whakanui I tō mana āhu ake.
My mixed whakapapa confused me growing up. All of my cousins on my dad's side, apart from my sister and I, went to kura kaupapa. I asked my dad pretty recently why my sister and I didn't go to kura kaupapa, and he just said it was because my mum and him decided that it would be better that we were fluent in Te Ao Pākehā, and if we decided when we were older to learn Te Reo Māori, like we could choose that for ourselves. For the last few years, I have had issues with learning new information about Māori history that we didn't learn in high school. All of these white people have done all of these terrible things to Māori and no one talks about it and we pretend like it never happened. I transferred all of that pain that I was feeling onto my Pākehā whānau unintentionally. Mum said to me once she thought that I not hated her but disliked her because she made me Pākehā.
Ke whakamoe mi tia moro ki ni mātua kia koe I homo e ne kai pohora hia ki ni marau te tepu. He oranga mo mātua tina mātua waila ake amen. We give thanks to God for this food that's been laid on the table, sustenance for our bodies, that we don't get overweight. Amen.
Meeting different rangatahi Māori that look like me and have had the same types of journeys as me, that's been really validating as a young wahine Māori who doesn't necessarily look Māori. Whatever I do in my life, I'm Māori and it's awesome. I love being Māori. I started skateboarding when I was 6. I have an older cousin and he had a skateboard and it had like flame grip tape and I thought that was really cool and I rode his skateboard all the time. So I asked for a skateboard for my birthday and I got one and it had flames on the bottom, which I thought was super cool. We went to the skate park every day after school. As soon as I got home until I had to go home for dinner, I just loved the challenge of it and challenge of learning new tricks and stuff like that. I stopped when I was 12 because I'd been bullied at the skate park for being a girl, feeling like I was the only one. I didn't know any other girls that had skateboarded. Many comments from boys and men about how I wasn't allowed to be in this space. When I was 20, I met a mate who used to skate as well, and we decided to pick it up together again. I find it really frustrating going to skate parks and being stared at and being questioned about how good you are. I've had that since I was 6 and I still get that as a 24-year-old. Why am I a woman at a skate park? Why am I not sitting just watching and just looking for a boyfriend? Because that's apparently what people think girls come to skate parks for. This is a space I come to feel free, let my thoughts go away and just have a skate. I recently just started my own skateboarding school called Wahine Skate. It's my passion to teach other girls and women how to stand on a board and not feel afraid, because that's a lot of what they feel when they come into that space is, oh, this is scary, this is for boys.
If you're still learning how to skateboard, like learning how to push and how to turn, do you want to come over with me?
I went to the same skate park my whole life, never seeing another girl there. I had 28 girls at the skate park once that I grew up at, and it was the best feeling in the world, seeing that many wahine at a skate park. I had boys asking, why are you here? Like, can you not be in this space? These girls don't know what they're doing. And I said, no, we're allowed to be here. Trying to protect those girls from what I faced as a little girl. That's what I wish I had when I was a little girl, is other girls to go to the skate park with and just feel safe and feel like I was normal.
Ia koe ka whakatau ki te tā moi I te turituri, me te tuku I te nei. Ka rongo koe I te wātea, me te tūranga hakoa I tō mana āhua ake.
Yeah, I was still year 9, but I had turned 13 and we were going to Gisborne for Kapaka Nationals. The kaumātua who spoke on the Hokainga side gave me a kiss and then he said, "Oh, are you the honky of the group?" 13-year-old girl just staring at him like, oh my god, what did you just say to me? We went in to get a kai. I saw the guy coming towards me again. Please don't come to me. Please just don't come to me. He comes to me and he says, if you want to roll with the Māoris, you got to eat like a Māori. I don't understand what that even means. And he just started bursting out laughing. Even if he was joking, it felt awful being targeted out of a whole group of 40 people because of the colour of my skin. If I'm being honest, I don't think I have actually stopped to reflect on being this year 9 girl to 3 years later being the voice of Māori moana.
I tō titiro ki a koe I te whakaata, kōwai kei te titiro mai. I tō kiri ka whakamoho I te toto o raro iho, ka mutu I ētahi e kōhimu ana e hara ia I a tātou. Me pēhea tō ū ki te aria motuhenga o tō mana āhua ake. Nā wai I whakatau ko tō hononga ki tō ahurea e taia ana te whiri ma te tai o tō kiri.
I used to do kapahaka practices in my high school years. I heard them whisper to one another, man, what is she even doing here? She's not even Māori. And so I was just sitting there eating my sandwich like, what do you mean? Like, you know I can hear you, right? I was really, really upset. As I got older and I had a lot of support around me, I realised like it doesn't matter. You can be green, yellow, purple. If you're Māori, you're Māori. I had a lot to do with my grandparents on my mum's side growing up, my nan and koro. My koro had a big part in my Māoritanga. I was really lucky to have him there to help teach us, to help guide us. Every weekend I wasn't with him, it was because he was at the marae and he didn't want me to come because it would be too cold. Oh, I'm gonna cry. He actually passed away in September last year, so that was hard, but I'm grateful that I'm at this point now where I really didn't want to cry. Sorry.
This room is like my koro's man cave. He used to call it his koro cave.
He used this room to kind of display how proud he was of his mokos. Like, he always had our pictures on the wall, certificates, photos, Lego creations, like anything he could display of ours, he would. He was really vocal in letting us know that he was proud of us, which I appreciated. Yeah, there's a few things I've done since he's passed, and I hope that he's proud. In 2017, the Disney film Moana was dubbed in Te Reo Māori here in New Zealand. Taika Waititi and Rachel House both put a video out on Facebook kind of saying, audition, like, look at this awesome opportunity, you should send in a video. My mum sent it to me. I was a bit skeptical at first because, oh no, I'm fair-skinned and, you know, that's a really big platform and I might get a lot of, you know, opinions. I didn't really want to do it, but my mum said, like, girl, just do it. So I just sent my video in, and then like 2 weeks later we get an email saying, can we have a Skype call with you? And they said that I was the Māori Moana. I had to learn all of the songs in Te Reo Māori, I had to record them, and then we spent a very long time doing the dialogue. Being in that film, it's kind of cool because I feel like I have proven it to myself. I want to go back to that kaumātua and say, kia ora, I'm Māori, watch this movie.
E hara mā te tirohanga o te ao koe e ārahi ki te whata o Angitū. Engari, mā te manapau I tēnā e pono ana ki a koe, nō tōtua kiritanga, wai hoki nōhia e taea e wai ake te tātari.